Hello, I'm Jana, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're going to be having some fun with Minc ink and foiling, in addition to some of the wonderful Tim Holtz stamps from this year and years past. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies I'm going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. Today is all about shine and sparkle. We are going to be foiling today. And to do that, we're going to be pulling in a whole bunch of Tim Holtz stamps as well as substrates. We have got mixed media tags, craft stock, mixed media stock, distress watercolor paper, and distress heavy stock, as well as some black heavy stock too. So, for foiling, when we're using stamps, my favorite product to pair it with would be Minc ink. Minc ink is by Heidi Swap, and a while ago there was an amazing demo by Tim showing us how to get the best results with toner ink and stamps. So we're going to be exploring some of that today. We're going to do some backgrounds, we're going to do some focal points, and we're going to have lots of fun with foil. So to start with, I want to do a couple of easy backgrounds. The first background that we're going to be trying will be the Ticking and Grain stamp set CMS 475. This should give us a really simple and easy backdrop to add into a card. And I'm thinking I really want to use a craft stock background. Okay, so we're going to put down our substrate. And I think I want the ones with the multi-lines. We're going to get out our stamp. Next, I'm going to need a stamping block. And we're going to be setting up a splash station for the ink. I like to use a piece of scrap plastic or an old craft mat to do my ink messy stuff on. So today I'm using a piece of scrap paper for that. And we're also going to be using the mini Tim Holtz brayer. The brayer is the perfect tool to roll the ink from the scrap plastic directly onto the stamp. Now, one thing, we have to have all of our tools immediately lined up for when we're transferring the ink. The ink has a pretty quick drying time, so we need to be very fast when taking the ink from here and applying it onto the stamp here. The other thing is, when we stamp down, we have to stamp fast. If you stamp and leave this for more than 8 seconds, the stamp and the paper are going to get stuck together, and that can be a big mess. So I'm explaining this beforehand because when we get moving, we're going to be moving pretty fast. So first things first, I'm going to take some of the Minc ink. Now the Minc ink doesn't come with the dropper. I got the droppers off Amazon to make putting the ink onto my plastic surface much easier. And I'm just doing 2 half droppers to get ink down on here. It is better to go with a little less ink than too much because the toner ink will dry. So we're going to take the ink that we have. I've got my stamp ready to go, and we're just going to brayer that out. Now, when the ink starts to get a little tacky, that means that we don't have much time before we need to stamp and press. But with it this liquid, I should be able to get a couple of stampings before I need to add more ink. So as you can see, we've got ink neatly coating the brayer. It's not too chunky in places, it's nice and even. And now I want to apply that to the stamp. And we need to work relatively quickly, as I said before. If I need to get more, it's okay, but we get this, we brayer it on, and pretty much now we gotta take it, flip it, and stamp it down. Can't hover stamp, can't really think too much, just good firm pressure and peel. and you can hear that sound, just it peeling off. You know that you've got good ink transfer. Okay, so we're going to set this aside and it's going to dry. Now, the stamps. When we use Minc ink, we have to clean our stamps up. And to do that, we're going to be wanting some Distress Archival Cleaner. I'm just going to tap that down onto here, and we'll need some paper towel in order to clean the stamp. If we don't clean our stamp, then we're going to end up with a big mess the next time we want to stamp with regular inks. Okay, got that. Getting some paper towel. And wiping the stamp clean. And if we get to it right away, the cleanup is pretty minimal. There, just like that. Clean stamp. It will be good for the next time we want to stamp with it. Okay, so just taking that, putting that back on here, trying to keep things moving along pretty quickly because I don't want to lose the Minc ink during drying time. Okay, next I want to do a beautiful starry background. So switching stamping tools, taking that, putting on a smaller stamping block. This time I'm pulling in some Distress White Heavy Stock. Now, taking a brayer. Ooh, you can hear it. It's starting to get tacky. So I might be able to get 1 or 2 stampings, but not sure. And rolling that right on here. Okay, I think we're still good. Taking that, stamping it down. And peeling that off. Good. I'm going to try to get 1 or 2 more stampings with this, but my Minc ink is definitely starting to dry. Good. All right. And at this point, let's take a look at the plastic and what's going on. So you can see that it's starting to get a little clumpy and chunky in places. That means that ink isn't going to be very good and it's starting to peel up. That means it is dried. But not a big deal. We can always reapply more Minc ink, which is why I like to dispense it in such small quantities. That way we don't waste it. Okay, so another dropper full. Just pulling that ink a bit further down. Bringing our stamp back. Dinking it up. And I'm being very light with my brayer motions. And stamping. And you can hear that kind of almost suction cup sound when it comes off the paper. That's because the Minc ink is drying pretty quickly. Okay, and here. Good. Looks like I only need to stamp a couple more times and our background will be complete. So taking this, turning it. There we go. Good. And I just want to see if I can't get this one little corner over here. All right, not bad. So again, we'll set this aside. Doesn't look like much, but the magic of the foiling is going to happen once I've done all my stamping. Once I get going with the Minc ink, I like to do all of my stamping first before pulling out the Minc machine. It just makes the process a little bit more streamlined, and this is what we also could call compartmental crafting. Like one day you could do all of your Minc elements, and then you could assemble cards on another day. It just means that you've got all your supplies ready, and you're good to go. Because this might seem like a lot of supplies to get out and kind of a mess, but if you're only focusing on one thing, then it's really not too bad for cleanup. My main suggestion for cleanup is make sure you've got plenty of paper towels around. Okay, good. I'm happy with the stamp. I'm gonna take that, put that over here. While I've got the stamp set out, I do want to grab the Santa Claus, and we're going to add him to a tag. Let's see. Yep. The small number 5 tag will be good. And I need the bigger stamping block. Got it. Okay, I think the Minc ink is still good for one more round. Ooh, that's getting really sticky. Okay, but I think we can do it. No. As you can see, the Minc ink has dried. So when it does that, Minc ink actually will react kind of like dry erase marker, which is pretty cool. I need to just do a quick wipe up of my surface. There we go. So if we take a paper towel and just run that across here, it's going to start healing. And if we take the brayer, you actually can scrape that up. See how it's just coming off the plastic in chunks? Okay. And look at that. We also were able to clean off our brayer. But this surface is still good. So we're just going to put down more Minc ink. Whenever the brayer gets yucky, I like to just roll it back and forth on the plastic, and the stuff just starts to clump up together. It's almost self-cleaning. It's quite magical in my opinion. Okay. Ink. Brayer. Good. Now we got our stamp. This is a bigger stamp, so it might take just a little bit more ink, but I'm still being very light-handed with the brayer. Okay, that looks good. Let me get our tag, and we're going to stamp this down. Just like that. Good. All right. Pretty happy with that, so I'm just going to stamp that out, and let's see how our image looks. There we go. Nice, crisp, clear image. Okay, so you've got the idea of what we're doing when we're stamping things out. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on fast forward, and we're going to do a whole bunch of stamping. That way we have lots of different options when we get to foiling. Now that our inking is done, it's time to use the Minc. This is the Minc Mini by Heidi Swapp, and it is absolutely gorgeous and nicely compact. Down here would be the on and off button, and on top, the gold button is our settings button that allows us to set different heating temperatures. I like to set mine on number 3. So, now it is time to bring in foil. So I've got a combination of foils here. We've got some deco foil, and I've also got some Minc foil. I absolutely love the deco foil because it comes in such a variety of colors, and they are nice vintagey colors that work really well with the stamps that we're using. This one here is the Emerald Vivid Watercolor set. So I'm going to be cutting a piece of this to roughly fit our stamped image. The image that we have here is the wreath from department store. So just taking out one of the pieces of foil. Good. And we'll just set the rest off to the side for the moment. And we're going to take this and we're just going to kind of line things up and cut it down with scissors so that it will fit our foiled area as best as possible. So I'm going to be cutting the foil just a little bit larger than the image itself. This will give us enough border room in case something shifts while it's going through the machine. I usually like to give myself at least a quarter, if not a half-inch border around my images. Okay, so we've got that all lined up. And we're just going to fold that over because I don't want to use that entire chunk. I can save that smaller piece for foiling a sentiment at a later time. So for now, I'm just going to trim that off and set it aside. All right, that is looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. So the next thing that we're going to need will be our carrier sheet. But right now, I'm going to quickly tuck away the extra foil. Okay, so we've got that all nicely put away so that I'll be able to use that next time. Now, the carrier sheet is going to be a little plastic pocket that we're going to be placing our 2 layers in. So it doesn't really matter which way we put our paper stack into the carrier sheet. The main thing is that it needs to be completely covered. Now, when loading the carrier sheet, I always have trouble remembering which side is the right side to load on. But the correct side would be the side with the bright green light on it. The side with the gold Minc logo is the exit side. So just going to line that up and feed this through. I just love the effect that Minc ink can create. The detail that the ink can capture using a whole different variety of stamps is absolutely amazing. We can go from anywhere with thick, chunky stamps to fine, detailed stamps and still get an amazing foiled effect. All right, let's go ahead and pull this out of the carrier sheet and do the reveal. The reveal is absolutely my favorite part. Now, fair warning, the sheet does come out a bit toasty from the Minc machine. All right, let's take that corner and peel. Oh, look at the detail. That came out really, really good. I am very happy with that. Okay, so we have got many more pieces to foil. So let's go ahead and put this part on fast forward. Here are all of our foiled pieces. Now the fun part, the reveal. So this one is a super fine detail poinsettia created with some hollow. Ooh, that shine is amazing. All right, let's see what we've got next. I think this is a background with some lettering. Yep. Oh, and we've got this beautiful royal blue color over craft. Definitely going to make a great background. Okay, I think this is the Santa Claus. Yep, that is. Huh. Got a little funky bit of his arm that didn't quite color. Huh? Not a big deal. We can always run that again later. Well, if I just add this little bit of blue, this will be ready to send through the Minc machine again and see if I can't get that little spot patched up. But in the meantime, let's check out this deer. Ooh, that almost has a mirror finish. That is really cool. Okay, next I believe we've got some stars. Yeah. Oh, that is a great background. I love those metallic stars. Okay, here I think we've got some bells on black. Ooh, very nice. And we've got this really interesting little halo around it. I wonder if that's just a quality of the black paper. Huh, I don't know. I like it either way. Very cool. Okay, and here. Oh, this is our stripy background. Ooh, got some texture going on there. Definitely some beautiful shine. I like it. And this is going to be the snow globes. Ooh, okay. With the hollow, that just looks absolutely magical. Too cool. Wow. Okay. So we have so many wonderful pieces to use that I just absolutely had to make at least one card from some of these fantastic elements. To start this card, I'm going to be fussy cutting out one of the snow globes, and for cutting, I'm using the Tonic Mini Snips. Now, most recently, Simon Says Stamp actually came out with a set of framelits for this stamp set. I definitely plan on getting my hands on that at some point because these snow globes make such lovely focal points on cards. But in the meantime, we're just going to fussy cut the old-fashioned way. And we're still going to get a very nice focal point to add to our distressed background. That blue and metallic is going to pop. Okay, so a couple of little fix-ups on the side, trimming things off and rounding off that corner, and we are almost done fussy cutting. There we go. Okay, that's not bad. Moving off the scraps. So I definitely want to put this in the center of the card, but our card front is a little bit too plain, and we're going to need to do something to bring some more interest to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull in some Distress Grit Paste Snowfall. To apply the grit paste, I'm going to be using this wonderful Snow Flurry stencil from last year's Stamptember stamp set. Okay, so I've got this lined up, and we're just going to take our palette knife and start applying the texture paste through the stencil. So I'm just going to take that and smush it down, just pushing that through the snowflakes, and that should give us a beautiful snowy background. Oop, oh, that just smudged a bit. Okay, well, we're just going to flip this and see if I can apply that on the other side. All right, let's try that again. Note to self, use grip mat next time. Okay, that seems to be applying quite nicely. So just going to finish spreading that around, scrape the extra back into the jar, and we are going to lift. All right, that works. All right, but next time definitely want some of the non-slip grip mat. So I'm going to be using the snow globe as a center point, but for now I need to let our background dry. All right, background took about 10 minutes to dry. Now I want to take some collage medium, and we're going to add some snowbanks at the base of the card. I'm just going to spread the glue directly onto the card with my finger, and then we're going to be applying some distress glitter. So I'm just taking the glue, smoothing it out, and rubbing that with my finger onto the piece of cardstock. If you didn't want to apply the glue with your fingers, you definitely could use a paintbrush. So I'm just going to continue spreading the glue over our cardstock base until I've got the rough shape of some hills. And then we're going to be adding some distress glitter. Okay, cleaning off my hands and bringing in our big bottle of clear rock candy. So next thing I need will be some scrap paper just to stick under here, just something to catch the extra glitter. And now, since we've got such a big, lovely bottle, we're just going to dump that right on, and I'll just put the extra bits back into the bottle. Okay, give that a little tap. So sparkly good. And of course, we're going to take that extra glitter and pour that right back into the bottle. Okay, putting the lid back on our bottle, and ooh, now I'm starting to get a really good wintry feel. So next, I want to take our focal point and I want to give it some lift. So of course, we're going to be bringing in some of the Simon Says Stamp 3D foam squares. Now, in this case, I'm going to be using some of the mini foam squares to give our snow globe some lift. Okay. Next, we're just going to peel off the backings to our foam squares, and we will then stick that onto our background. Now, the biggest question that I have in my mind right now is what am I going to add to the background? Because I'm still going to need a landing space for a sentiment, and I kind of need to break up the card a little bit. The wintry background is good, but I'm feeling like it is definitely lacking something. This on its own doesn't look bad, but I'm still kind of feeling that our focal point needs to be a little bit more anchored. I'm going to hang on to that thought and just keep adding pieces. Right now, I want to add some of the Ideology velvet trim. The velvet trim will definitely give us a way to break up the card a bit. That dark blue is going to fit in perfectly. So I'm just going to rough measure the ribbon on the card, and then we'll be able to trim that with the tonic snips. Definitely thinking the top part of the card is going to be the correct landing spot for the ribbon. Sometimes you have to try out different locations before you decide where you want to add your embellishments. For attaching the velvet trim, we do have several options. We could do collage medium, but I want to do ATG tape. If I put down the ATG tape on the back of the trim, if I misplace the ribbon by a little bit, it's going to be pretty easy to pick up and relocate. So we've got that nice and adhesed to the back, and I'm just going to lay this down on the card and try to make sure that everything is lining up nice and neat. Okay, already I've got to scoot that over just a little bit. My alignment was kind of off. Okay, I've still got a bit of overhang. I kind of want to pick that up and try again. Let's see here. Well, I do have this really cool snowflake element that we can add. This is also from Ideology. And that's going to kind of cover up where I was just a teeny bit too short on the ribbon. Okay, then that's not bad. Now, the next question is, where are we going to place our sentiment? For the sentiment, I'm pulling in some of the Ideology label tape, and this is the Christmas edition. Trying this at the top of the card, kind of like that, but it leaves the bottom of the card looking so empty. I think I'm going to have to think on that for a little bit while I do something about the rest of the card. So right now I have some of the metallic droplets from Ideology, and I want to add one of these into each corner of the card for a bit of metallic shine. Now let's go ahead and place our metallic droplets. I chose some of the largest droplets, and I just want to put one of these in each of the corner just to tie the whole card together, since we've got so many metallic and sparkly elements going on here. Okay, and let's put that other one in the corner. That's looking very good. All right, and now we're going to place our last one. So that's going to need some time to dry, and in the meantime, I still feel like the card is missing something. There's still something else that I need to do, so we're going to keep playing until I'm happy with the design. Looking at the base of the snow globe, I think I want to add some more glittering pieces. I remember in this year's holiday hoopla that we had created a snowy mixture of mica flakes and distressed glitter. So I'm going to pour some of that right at the base of the snow globe just to add a little bit more texture to the card. I'm just taking some collage medium and spreading that over the surface, and then I'm going to apply the mixture of distressed mica flakes and a bit more distressed glitter. Definitely liking this. The mica flakes and the extra layer of glitter are definitely giving me a more icy look to help anchor that snow globe, but I'm not entirely sure that I'm done yet. I'm going to have to let this dry, and then we'll come back with the finished card result. I think I might be adding in an additional layer to act as a base behind the snow globe. Maybe if I can find a solid color. All right, let's take a look. So I did decide to add a bit of a backing to the globe, and that has completely anchored the card, definitely changed the feel. But we still have all that wonderful glittery goodness at the base of the card, along with the chunky mica. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for some minking and foiling fun. I hope that you're enjoying Craftmas and will join us for the next episode. And until next time, happy crafting.